All right, let's dive right into a story that is, well, it's a total bureaucratic nightmare. This is a real world case about a small business that got hit with this huge, completely mysterious bill from the IRS. And their entire journey was just to find out one simple thing: why?
So let's put a number on it, $35,000. Just imagine that number showing up in an official looking letter from the IRS. That's exactly what happened to this small business. It was a penalty they were told they owed for the 2021 tax year. And yeah, a number like that is enough to cause some serious panic. But here's the crazy part. It wasn't just the amount that was so shocking. The notice, the official letter from the IRS, it gave absolutely no reason for the penalty. None. It was just this demand for a massive pile of cash, completely wrapped in a mystery. So, that's where our story begins. Part 1, the mystery notice. This single, super vague piece of paper set off an investigation that would drag on for months. The tax firm handling this called the notice brutally vague. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just some simple oversight, right? The very document that's supposed to give you clarity to tell you what's wrong, it did the exact opposite. It just threw up this giant wall of confusion and, let's be real, a whole lot of anxiety.
And what tax form number for this one, please?
This is going to be what appears to be tax form. It looks like it's 1099 NEC and 1099S.
What other tax forms do you have authorization for this?
1120S. 1120S would be one. 941s W2.
And then you authorize for 1120?
This entity is an 1120S.
Okay. And then for what year or years, please?
This is going to be for tax year. This is going to be for 2021.
Well, good. Okay.
Yeah, so it looks like some sort of 1099 NEC 1099S. Something was filed late or wrong. I'm not 100% sure. And they've been assessed penalties. They have penalties totaling, it's like $35,000. They have penalties that have been assessed. Yeah, just shy of $35,000. So I recently got a notice dated June 3rd. So I got a notice that was 2 months ago. I have recently responded to the notice. So I'm just trying to see if there can be a hold on this while you guys get this in the mail.
Oh, the form, what type of, is it talking about 1120S or why is it saying that it owes? Is it saying, what's it say on the letter, please?
Yeah. So I originally got involved with this. July 25th, 2024. I got involved with this a year ago. I had no clarification. I got no clarification on what exactly the penalties are stemming from. We're just getting a notice of penalties assessed. And I wrote in asking for clarification on why these penalties have been assessed. And unfortunately, from July 25th up until this notice that just came in June 3rd, I have yet to get clarification. This is I'm getting different stories every time I call in. I'm being told it's because of late W-2s, 941s. I'm being told because of W-2s. I'm being told because of 1099s. I'm being told that these are civil penalties.
You authorized for civil penalty for 2021?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Hold on. It is a civil penalty, but let me look at it. Let me put you on hold. I'll be right back. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll be here.
Okay, so the business's tax pros did what you're supposed to do. They wrote to the IRS and asked for a simple explanation. And what they got back? Well, let's just say it was a masterclass in the bureaucratic waiting game. Just look at this timeline. It is absolutely maddening. So they send their first letter in August. 3 months go by, and in November, the IRS says, we need 60 more days. Okay, then January comes around, the 60 days are up, they follow up. What happens? In February, the IRS says, yep, we need another 60 more days. And then in March, you guessed it, we need another 60 days. Oh, and by the way, we're sending your case to a completely different office. I mean, come on. That's over half a year of just waiting to be told we're still looking into it. Now, the good news, if you can call it that, is the penalties were on hold during all this. But that hold wasn't going to last forever. The clock was ticking. The letters were clearly going nowhere fast, so the firm knew they had to do something else. It was time to get on the phone.
Call a phone number, and then they'll send you the information that what they're looking for. If you try to call that TSO, centralized call site,
Yeah, what forms are missing tins?
normally it's a 1099, so that's typically what it is. Normally.
Yeah, I have been calling in. I sent in a response package and I enclosed the original notice and I said, "What is this for? Can you please clarify what this is for?" And over the last year, you guys have just consistently been sending in, "We need 60 days. We need 60 days. We need 60 days." I've just been getting 60-day notices over the last year. And then every time I call in, I'm getting directed to different phone numbers. I'm being told it's for W-2s.
Take one with this. Some of the things you can look at and are real easy. Okay, this is what you need to do. This is one of the calls where you can call and you can get a whole bunch of different answers. But once it comes down to what they're looking for, there's a letter, a 972C that you would get. And it would tell you exactly what the issue is and what the problem is. Did you ever get the 972CG?
No.
This is the phone number that you want to call them.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, no centralized call site. It's 1-866-455-743.
743. Yeah, okay. I'm aware of this phone number. I've attempted to call this number. I've replied with a package requesting penalty abatement. I've replied with an extensive package of all of my efforts over the last year trying to get these penalties abated. Is it possible to put a hold on collections for this?
There's type of an agreement here.
The agreement was to what the agent did with that quote unquote agreement was they put basically that we would pay this within 6 months, and that essentially put a hold on it for 6 months while it was navigating the system. So that's essentially how the agent solved the problem. Is they've said that we would pay this at the end of 6 months. That was how they like put a hold on collection efforts.
Yeah, so at this point it's still in that agreement. So they're not gonna there's no other hold that you can put in because it's in that agreement.
When does that expire? We were supposed to make the payment. We were supposed to make this payment. The hold ended in July, from my records.
And the balance due questions. Let me look at this again, Albert. We don't set up agreements, but or at least in through the PPS line for business. But let me place on hold. Let me see if I can figure it out, Albert. Okay.
And this is where the story goes from just frustratingly slow to outright chaotic. Welcome to part 3, Calling into the Void. So they get on the phone and they have one simple question. What is this penalty for? But here's the kicker. It seems like the IRS itself didn't have a straight answer. Every single phone call they made just piled on another layer of confusion. I mean, the answers they got were just all over the map. One agent would say, oh, it's for unfiled 941s. The next would say, no, it's for late W-2s. Then another call, looks like 1099 issues. And the best one? Just these vague civil penalties. It was literally like spinning a roulette wheel of tax problems. And none of the answers ever actually matched up. And the tax pro handling this case, he summed up the vibe perfectly. He said, they act like hall pass monitors trying to catch kids out of class. Think about that. The feeling wasn't helpfulness. It wasn't let's solve this together. It felt confrontational, like the whole point was to guard the information, not share it. It gets even crazier. Instead of actually answering the question about the penalty, one IRS rep flipped the script and started questioning the firm's authority to even ask about the case. I mean, just let that sink in. They're the official representatives, they've got all the paperwork, and they're being treated with suspicion, not getting any help. And the confusion didn't stop there. Oh no, it went deeper. It wasn't just the reason for the penalty that was a mystery. Even the most basic account information didn't match. The firm's records clearly showed a collections agreement had expired back in July, but the IRS agent on the phone is looking at their screen saying, nope, it's still active. It's like they were operating in two completely different realities.
Well, going at me looking at it, it looks like it's, when they put in the notes that it's supposed to go through July 25th. What's it look like?
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
But when I look here, it's still showing it's in that agreement. I mean, any questions you'd want to talk to collections about that, about extending a hold or what you need to do, so you can respond to this.
So at this point, sir, we're asking for penalty abatement based off of me trying to get this resolved over the last year, and it's a chunk of change. So to avoid this business waking up one day and seeing $35,000 come out of their bank account, what are my options here? This situation is something I've never been in before.
Questions and just tell them the situation that you're having a hard time, that you're going to call that number, the TSO, to get that 972CG, that letter, and that you're going to respond to that letter that you just need more time and see what they can do to help you, and that you're afraid, that just tell them that the taxpayer shouldn't owe this money. That's what you're afraid of, or that somebody's going to go into their account.
Okay. All right. Would you be able to document that I called in about this today, sir?
Yeah, let me push on hold. Let me notate the number. Okay. I notate in the system that you called. Do you want me to transfer you over to the collections department?
Nah, I'm gonna have to call in another day to close that out. This was been good enough for right now, buddy. I really appreciate your help.
So after all this, months of letters, endless phone calls, they were no closer to an answer than when they started. Which brings us to the final part of this saga, and it raises a much, much bigger question. Is this system even solvable? And this really gets to the heart of it all. It's a question from the tax firm itself. What right do they have to ask for $35,000 if they can't even tell us why? That's it, right there. It's about fairness. It's about transparency. How can any agency demand that kind of money that could sink a small business, and not be able to give a single clear reason why? Think about how simple their goals were. Step 1, just figure out the reason for the penalties. That's it. Step 2 was the hope. Maybe they could get the penalties waived or abated, since 2021 was a huge COVID year with lots of relief programs. But the reality? Neither was achieved. They got nowhere. The mystery just remained.
And this is such a classic example of what you'd call a cog in the machine problem, where every single person you talk to is just one tiny part of this huge, impersonal organization. No one person seems to have the whole picture or the power, or maybe even the desire to step up and actually solve the problem. They just do their one little job and pass it on. So you're probably wondering, what was the big resolution? How did it all end? Well, it didn't. There was no resolution. The case was just left completely unsolved. The only thing they could do was start a brand new investigation, this time with the collections department, basically just hoping to find someone, anyone who had an answer.
And that's the really scary thought we're left with. Remember, this was a team of tax experts, people who navigate the IRS for a living, and they were totally lost. It just leaves you with one big, unsettling question. If the pros are this stumped, what chance does an ordinary person, a regular small business owner, really have?